Carbon markets were never meant to carry the entire weight of climate action. They were designed as tools, mechanisms, bridges between ambition and reality. But over time, expectations grew. Carbon markets were asked not only to support climate policy, but to replace difficult decisions, to compensate for delay, to absorb responsibility. And in doing so, they became something larger and more fragile. This series began by asking how carbon credits really make money. It examined risk, control, incentives, and power. It questioned ESG narratives, pricing mechanisms, offsets, winners and losers, and the role of public scrutiny. Each layer revealed the same pattern. Carbon markets reflect the systems that created them. They convert climate responsibility into prices, contracts, and transactions. They translate environmental damage into financial language. This translation makes action possible, but it also reshapes priorities. What can be measured gets traded. What can be traded gets optimized. And optimization does not always mean impact. At their best, carbon markets create signals. They assign cost to pollution. They reward efficiency. They channel capital toward lower emission outcomes. In specific contexts, under strict rules, they can accelerate change. But markets do not operate in a vacuum. They respond to incentives, constraints, and narratives. When rules are weak, markets exploit flexibility. When prices are low, behavior remains unchanged. When oversight is distant, accountability fades. Carbon markets do not fail because they are markets. They fail when they are asked to do what markets cannot. Throughout this series, one theme remained constant. Carbon markets work best when they are limited, when they are treated as complements, not substitutes, when they support regulation, innovation, and direct emission cuts, instead of replacing them. The danger has never been collapse. The danger is comfort. Cheap credits can delay transformation. Flexible offsets can postpone investment. Attractive narratives can replace uncomfortable truths. Carbon markets can reduce pressure at the exact moment pressure is needed most. This does not make them useless. It makes them conditional. The future of carbon markets will not be defined by scale alone. Bigger is not better. Growth is not success. Survival will depend on credibility, discipline, and restraint. Fewer credits, stricter standards, higher prices, clearer limits. Markets that accept these constraints may shrink, but they will matter. Markets that resist them may persist, but they will lose trust. The most important question is no longer how to expand carbon markets. It is how to position them correctly. Carbon markets should not promise to solve climate change. No pricing mechanism can. They should promise something more modest and more honest. To support transition. To penalize pollution where regulation cannot reach. To create incentives where direct mandates are politically impossible. Used carefully, they can help. Used carelessly, they can distract. Responsibility cannot be offset forever. Eventually, emissions must fall. Eventually, systems must change. Carbon markets can buy time. They cannot buy outcomes. As public scrutiny increases, as regulation tightens, and as expectations evolve, carbon markets are being forced to mature. This maturation will be uncomfortable. It will expose weaknesses. It will remove illusions. That is not a failure. That is a reckoning. What comes next will be quieter, more technical, less promotional. Carbon markets will move from headlines to infrastructure, from slogans to systems, from broad promises to narrow functions. And that may be exactly what they need. In the end, carbon markets matter not because they are innovative, but because they reveal priorities. They show how societies choose to balance responsibility, cost, and delay. They expose the limits of financial solutions to physical problems. Climate change is not a market failure alone. It is a structural challenge. Markets can help manage transitions. They cannot replace them. Understanding this distinction is the most important insight of all. This series was not about rejecting carbon markets. It was about seeing them clearly, without hype, without fear, without illusion. Because clarity is the foundation of credible action. This is Carbon Market Files.